Hello everyone and welcome. This is Kip Monty, and in this video I am doing part 2 of my guide for new players for ArcheAge. Again, this video, just like the first one, is being done during alpha. Beta should be pretty close here, but since it is an alpha, even beta, this is early stages of the game, so things could change, but as it stands, here's what's going on. Before I really get into this video, I'm going to take you on a little tour. Our guild, Fists of the Empire, has acquired a good bit of land. We have a bunch of farms around each other. This is my farm right here, my plot. It's a large plot. These over here on the left side, those are small plots, and you can see them scattered throughout here. Most of our guild mates have put these signs on here, custom created signs by some of our guild members. You can do a lot of customization in this game as far as signs go. You can put them on your capes, on your sails, on your ships, things like that. This little thing on top of my Scarecrow is a crafting device, and that was just the easiest place for me to put it so it doesn't take up more space. I've got a bunch of trees being grown. We have various crops around here, and here is our main guild house, one of our guild mates put down so that we could all have access to it. So this is the first thing I want to show you heading into this house. We'll close the door so nobody wanders by and happens to attack me, because this is a PvP zone. Well, the first things you're going to need to know about is teleporting and recalling. So down here you see this spell I have, recall. You can bind to these memory stones throughout the game, and that lets you recall there every 30 minutes, kind of like a Hearthstone in World of Warcraft, or you've seen that in a lot of other games. On your map, you can also go to, let's see, infrastructure and toggle on or off memory tomes, so it shows you where on the map those are if you're looking for one to bind to. I always keep mine bound to this house here so I can get back to my farm plot, and the guild's events all start here. What you're going to need to know though, when you try and bind, when you first get in the game, the guildies are always like, okay, how do I bind, how do I get to the farm, things like that. There's going to be a fireplace in the houses. You have to start a fire there, which requires, requires 2 logs to make the fire, and the fire lasts for about an hour. Once you have a fire going, then you can use a memory ink, this item right here. If you happen to be our guild, they're in the chest. Grab one, use it, put any extras back in. You can shift click to just select one at a time, or just grab it, use it, throw it back in, whichever. But you use that item after there's a fire burning in the hearth, and that sets your bind point there, same as if you were using a memory tome somewhere else. So you can only have one bind spot. There's also other ways to teleport and travel and get around this game. You'll start off with this teleport scroll book, and as you find places, discover them, it'll add their locations to your list here. So you can look by zone and then by town, find where you want to go. You click on it, and you click this world gate button down here to the right. And what that's going to do, that's going to open a portal in front of me, and anyone can go through that. They don't have to be in your group. They don't have to, I don't even think they even have to be in your faction. And to go through it, you jump through the portal. And when I say jump through the portal, I mean literally you have to jump into the portal. You can't just walk through it. You got to actually hit that space bar and jump. So there's a couple of things you'll need to know off the bat. Getting around is obviously very important in any game, especially when you're getting in and your guild's already established. They have a home base and you're trying to get there to be with everybody. Briefly, a lot of these items this guy's got in his house are to give him bonuses for his crafting profession. He's been playing Alpha a lot longer than I have, so he has acquired a mass of items there. Livestock can be planted, basically just like farm stuff can. The interesting thing about it though is you can raise them into male and female versions, and then through a pretty random set of circumstances basically make them mate with each other, and eventually you can get a bear as a pet, or they're supposed to put a mount in. Don't know if the mount's in yet. There's also other animals you can kind of breed like that, and that's, I guess, a lot more detail than we need to know for right now. I'll briefly go over a little bit of planting. You can get seeds at a seed merchant. They're all over the place. You can use your map to find them. Once you have a plot, you see how this area is outlined in red. That's showing me my plantable space in my plot. It's hard to see on this bush, but there's a little green area around the plant showing that I could place it there. If I move it over the top where something else is planted, it turns red. Can't do it there. If I'm standing on the spot, even if it's open, I'm also blocking it. So I just left click anywhere I want to plant it. It puts it down. And then I have the option to water it. I've got water buckets in inventory already. You can just get those from a well by spamming the gather button. You can uproot it. It costs labor. I don't recommend doing that unless you just messed up and you really want to replace it, because you don't get the seed back. By watering it, it cuts the time down. I forget how much. I don't know, whatever percent it is, it reduces the time to actually have it grow to full. It might be about 10%. Anyway, neither here nor there. You can also plant pretty much anywhere in the world that's not controlled by somebody else. So I can plant right here outside of my plot. But by planting it here, that means that anyone can come along and dig it up, or when it's ready to harvest, they can harvest it. They will get crime points though for doing that. And I think I briefly touched on crime points either in my last guide or in my Twitch broadcast. But doing anything that's considered illegal gets you crime points, and they'll show up right here. You'll get crime points and infamy points. Getting 50 crime points means the next time you die, you get sent to jail. Once in jail, you have the option of saying, yeah, I'm guilty, I did it, you serve your time. So let's say I've done a few bad things, killed a couple of my neighbors, harvested some crops. I may get 10 minutes in jail and I just have to sit there. There are ways to break out of jail. Won't go into that right now for a beginner guide. But I will say that you also get infamy points. Your crime points will go away once you serve your time, but your infamy points will stay. And once you get 3,000 infamy points, you become a pirate. You get kicked out of your faction, you get kicked out of your guild, and you're made a pirate. There are ways to come back to a normal faction. Won't get into that right now either, but just know it can be done. There's quests throughout the world that you can do that will reduce your infamy and crime points, basically picking up trash around a major city or things like that. Next thing I want to touch on is labor. You see down here in the bottom left, I've got X amount of labor left. You basically restore 1 labor per minute. It gives you in groups of 5 every 5 minutes, but you're getting 1 labor per minute back. And most actions in the game other than combat are going to cost you labor. Chopping down a tree is going to cost you labor. Watering is going to cost you labor. Crafting is going to cost you labor. Just on and on with the ways you can use labor. So you're going to monitor how much you have. One cool thing is you start off with about 1,000 labor, and as you use it, your total goes up to a max of 5,000. So I haven't been playing long enough to have my max go up to 5,000, but I've obviously got a lot more than 1,000 total now. So you want to use your labor. You want to keep it pretty low. That way when you go to bed and you don't get on for a while, that labor is still accumulating whether you're online or not. There's some talk by the devs about maybe making it give you more labor when you're online, but right now it doesn't matter whether you're online or not. You still get the same amount of labor no matter what. So focus on your labor, use it when you can, so you can make sure you get up to 5,000, and it's almost like a form of currency, because like I said, crafting takes labor, so there is a value to using your labor. Chopping a tree, mining, all of that stuff. So that's horse dead, beaten, moving on. I'll point out real quick, because this is something I didn't realize right off the bat. You can equip your basic weapons and a shield if it's like a one-handed sword and shield. You can also equip a bow completely independent of your weapon. So you can have a staff and a bow equipped. And since they can give you stats, you definitely want to take advantage of having both equipped. And there's some basic skills in your very, very basic skills that give you a bow attack, shoot arrow. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but it's there if you need it. It might be an early ranged attack if your class doesn't start off with any ranged attacks. You want to spend the skill points for them. Also, it's an instant cast, so maybe if you're trying to put something in combat, like if you're chasing down somebody on a ship and they're about to despawn their ship, hit a quick instant cast like shoot arrow to put that boat in combat so they can't despawn it. Alright, moving on. Let's take a minute and talk about some armor. You get bonuses based off wearing a set of one type of armor or not, and there's 2 types of set bonuses. You can look up here and see I'm getting a buff from having a cloth set. Just by wearing, I think 5 pieces or more of cloth, leather, or plate, you get a bonus that helps you with, what you would expect that to help you with. Cloth is going to help you with spell casting, and so on and so forth. There's also gear that gives you set bonuses, and I'll tell you, especially during the leveling up process, having a set bonus of armor is a tremendous benefit. Even if you're wearing gear that's way below your level, like you see me doing right here, I'm 43, I've got level 34 gear, it's still better for me to have those set bonuses than to just have a hodgepodge of gear that I've looted. Alright, so set bonuses from wearing 5 pieces or more, set bonuses from the actual armor that gives it to you, jewelry, make sure you have a bow as well as your primary equipped, flutes and loots, I think I talked about those in my first video. They play either a health restoring or a mana restoring song. Your glider, I'll get to that later. I want to talk a little bit more about crafting. You can hit O by default and pull up your folio of all your crafts. So anytime you want to see what it takes to make a certain item, you can see it. You don't have to discover it. You don't have to be able to make it yourself to go to it and see it. What I want to point out here is that in crafting, you make a piece of armor starting at level, let's see, 24 is the basic level. Yeah. So you make a piece of armor and it has random number generators. I'm not a fan of random number generators, but you have a random chance to make a certain quality. And from what I understand, once an item is a certain quality, it's not going to go below that when you upgrade it. What I mean by upgrading is, okay, I made the piece of, level 20. I was looking at the next thing. You make the level 20 armor and then use that to make the next piece of armor, which is 24. So here you've got your basic ingredients, your fabric, which is made from cotton or wool, your dust, which is a looted item I'll talk about in a minute, and then your vendor item. So you'll make this first piece with level 20 gear, and it shows you up here at the top the different things that can be made with this crafted item. Right now only one thing can be made with that. So, crafter's hood. See, one of the ingredients here is that lower piece of gear. And then you'll use that to make a higher piece of gear and so on and so forth. So I've had this same set of gear that I'm wearing right now for many levels. I just give it to our guild crafter, give him the materials, he upgrades it for me, and I move on. So I've gotten fortunate and actually gotten one of my pieces up to purple quality. So when he upgrades it next time, it will be at least purple quality, though there's a chance it'll get upgraded again. As you're leveling up, you're going to at least want green items, but it's not a big deal to have anything above that until you're talking about 40 plus. After 40 plus, you're really going to want to start getting blues, and if you fail to get it in blue, you basically have to re-roll the item, which means you have to make the level 20 item, upgrade it to 24, to 28, so on and so forth, all the way through. The special item I mentioned is this dust. You'll have a chance to loot the dust, loot the different shards and things. They can be combined to make the larger material, or they can be deconstructed to make the lesser material. So you can use those all the way through. These arcanum crystals, very valuable. You'll want them, and what you need to do is go to the crafting or general merchant and grab you a bunch of these talismans, the even stone. What those are what you use to deconstruct gear. So if it's deconstructible, you'll be able to right click on that, it'll bring up this hammer, it'll show you, it'll highlight the ones you can deconstruct, it'll give you a confirmation screen, then it's going to melt that. And see, it gave me a shard, and now I can use that for making other gear. So you're going to carry a stack of these around because you're going to melt all the gear that you're getting at level 20 plus. First 20 levels, you may just want to vendor everything, but after about level 20, you're going to start melting all the gear that you're looting. Alright, before I move on, I want to touch on something I mentioned in my first video, and that's overachieving quests. Like I said, you're going to want to overachieve on every quest that lets you overachieve. But be careful, because you can also underachieve on quests. I don't know if I mentioned that or not the first time, but if you have to say kill 10 of something, you may have killed 8, go into town, see a question mark over somebody's head and think, oh, it's a quest turn in, but you're not going to get full credit for that because the game's going to let you turn it in even if you haven't fully completed it. So that's just something to be mindful of. Next thing I want to talk about is combos. So you'll look at my fireball spell down here, and at the bottom it says combos, and there's different effects that make this fireball better by using it at certain times. So a lot of fire and ice spells combo off of each other. So this one says it's doing 12 extra damage to something that's chilled. Well, one of my other early spells is my freezing arrow. It's a sorcery spell, cast it on them, puts this little dot on them that keeps them chilled for a little bit so that my fireball is going to do additional damage. And then if you look at this, oh, this one does extra, and it has an extra effect to burn targets. And you saw that my fireball has a fire dot on it. So I'll use these back and forth to combo combo as much as you can, give you some great benefits, and there's a lot of cross-class combos. If you're looking here in these combat abilities, I've got 3 classes I mentioned in the first video, and one of my abilities, Drop Back, is basically an escape, but what it also does is it makes my next flame bolt an instant cast. So when I'm fighting something, I'll hit this, and I can pop off 2 flame bolts before that effect ends, and they're instant flame bolts. So it's a great way to do a lot of damage really quickly. You're going to want to do a lot of theory crafting as you really get into the game on what abilities work best with others, what abilities you may not get other than the fact that it combos well with something else. So a lot of in-depth theory crafting you can do here. Something fun about the game, gives a lot more depth. The last thing I want to cover in this video is how to get your small Scarecrow, your Donkey, and your large Scarecrow. This video is of course for the Western faction because that's what I'm playing right now. It'll be similar for the Eastern faction. Of course the towns and locations will be different. So the elves start in the forest, the humans start in the peninsula. Each of them does their own starter zone, and then they both meet in the hills. So Liliet Hills is where you're going to go, which is where you're seeing me right now. I'm just approaching the main town here. It is called Windshade. You're going to be in Windshade a lot. There's a lot going on in Windshade, a lot of quests here. A lot of them you don't have to do. There's a lot of crafting quests, and those aren't necessary for you to do, except for the chain that I'm about to go over. The crafting quest givers are members of the Blue Salt Brotherhood. You'll see them all across all the zones. They give mainly crafting quests, and they'll give you vocational badges and stuff like that for your rewards. But right now what you're going to want to do is go to the southwest side of Windshade and find the merchant recruiter there. He's going to start off the quest chain, which you're about to see me go to in a minute in this video, that lets you first get your Scarecrow and then your Donkey and so on and so forth. What you'll do for him is a short series of quests. He's going to make you get some water these plants that are right beside him. You'll see this whole public farm behind me, or behind him right now in the video. You can plant there, and that's open to anybody. Your stuff is protected for a certain amount of time when you plant there, and then it's made public if you don't gather it in enough time. But the stuff he wants you to water initially is just to his right, my left. You see it has the little blue indicators over it. I don't notice that at first. I run in there and then have to run back out, whatever. Each of these public farms, some are for plants, some are for livestock. They'll only let you grow a limited number of crops there. You're about to see me pull up the list, and it shows exactly which ones can and can't be, or really just can be planted here. If it's not on that list, it can't be planted here. So you're going to water that crop. You're going to, I think, plant some potatoes, harvest those, whatever. Do this whole little chain, and then talk to him a couple more times, and he'll give you your Scarecrow. Note that one of the quests, you get the quest and immediately talk to him again to get the next part of the quest. He sends you up north a little bit to some public lands where anyone can place down their large or small plot. A couple of things to keep in mind is that even though he sends you up there, you don't have to put your plot there. In fact, I'd suggest you don't put your plot there unless you're just completely new to the game and don't have a guild. Because if you do have a guild, you're probably going to all plan out where you're putting your spots next to each other and coordinate like that. Also keep in mind that you do have to pay a gold to set your plot down, and then you'll also have a gold weekly tax that you have to pay to keep your plot there. If you fail to pay your tax, your Scarecrow gets sent back to your inventory and you lose your spot. Somebody else can take it. The more plots you have, the more that weekly tax goes up for each plot as well. First of these quests is called Trade Run Souls Reed to Memoria. So you're going to go over into Windshade on your map. That's where you're going to get the quest, and you're going to have to go to Souls Reed Peninsula to about right in here to make the trade pack. What you're going to do is, while you're in the forest up here questing and stuff, you're going to go ahead and plant your strawberry seeds, and you're going to need about 35 strawberry plants to get enough strawberries. You get about 3 to 4 per plant on average. But go ahead and plant 35 strawberry plants. So you'll make sure you have at least 100 strawberries, and they take some time to grow. So you'll plant them, you'll go do some questing, you'll harvest them, then you'll head over to Souls Reed and make your trade pack. You'll also probably want to go ahead and start planting some beans after you get your strawberries, because you're going to need those to feed the geese that you're going to have to place down later on for your next trade pack. So you're going to look ahead, see what you're going to need, and go ahead and start planting early. That way you're not having to wait on your next material when you're ready to do it. Alright, so you go into Soulsreed, you make a trade pack. You'll find a crafting merchant there that'll sell you a quality certificate. You have to have this quality certificate so that you can combine the 100 strawberries with the quality certificate to make the trade pack. It's required, and I think it's about 50 silver. So make sure you have the gold to do that. Make the pack here, and then you're going to head east to the Crescent Throne. The reason I say head east is because there's an airship that'll take you from here all the way over to the forest where you're going to need to go. There's also buses and stuff that you can take. They're like tractors and whatnot that'll move across, so during different quests you're going to want to take advantage of those rather than walking that trade pack around. But the quickest way for this one is to take that blimp, get here. The turn in is right about here, I think, somewhere along this road, about there, to turn in that trade pack. Once you do that, let's see what part is next. I think that's when you have to start getting your goose down. So you're going to already have placed down your geese. You'll be feeding them, and periodically you'll get to shear them. You'll cut off their feathers. Make sure you don't accidentally butcher the geese and take their meat, because you want to be able to harvest them for that down. So once you get that trade pack, you're going to want to, I think you make it in the same place you turned in the last one. You're going to make the new trade pack. You're going to hop on the airship. It's going to take you from the forest back to the Crescent Throne. You'll turn in there, and then you have to run or port or however you want to get back to Lily Hills, Windshade, and you'll go back to that same guy, turn in your quest, and that's when you get your donkey. So you'll have your normal mount for riding around, and you'll have your donkey, which makes it quicker to carry trade packs around. And keep in mind that your donkey, just like your combat pets and your other mounts, level as you use them. So running him around with you, having him out during combat, it's going to help him level up and make you faster when you're doing trade. For the next part of this quest, you're going to need to make stone bricks. To get that, you go around, find the iron nodes, you harvest those, you get some iron, and you also get some stone. And you're going to need a bunch of stone so you can make a pack. I think you need 90 raw stone because you need to make 30 bricks, 3 stone per brick. So you'll gather those, lots of places to gather iron, or buy it off the trade house. Also, at this point in time, you're going to plant a seed called the Narcissus seed, because you're going to need you're going to need 100 of those to make your next trade pack after the stone. So you're going to go ahead and plant that, again, planning ahead for the later quest. So once you have your bricks, you're going to come make your bricks somewhere around here, and then you'll have that trade pack. For this one, you're going to go south into the plains, and you're going to ride the transportation all the way through the zone. You have to get off on a different one here, and I think you also have to get off at Rooster's Camp there. And then you continue southwest into Marianople, and finally the quest finishes somewhere in here. I don't remember exactly where, but that's where you'll finish that one. And then it is time to make your next pack with the seeds, the Narcissus seeds. That one is a bit trickier because it's going to require you to cross into hostile territory. So you're going to head back to Lily Hills, turn in your quest, get the next quest, which is going to send you into the plains again. I forget exactly where it is that you have to make the next pack, but it'll be somewhere probably up here or here. And then the hard part is you have to take it to down here, cross enemy territory. This area of water here is constantly being plagued by pirates, by enemy faction members, and your own faction members trying to kill people to get their trade packs. So you want to be careful doing this. Probably going to want some guild support. What I would suggest doing is taking your trade pack from Dewstone Plains and walking it down through Marianople and Two Crowns. Both of those are safe zones, so you shouldn't have a problem getting it through there. Alright, Cinderstone, it's a little bit closer, but it could be in a time of unrest or war, so there could be PvP there. So the safest way to do it is to go to the southeast tip of Two Crowns. If Cinderstone is at peace, you can go there as well, But then you're going to have to hop on a ship. I wouldn't suggest trying to take it across by rowboat. You're going to want a better ship. So you're probably going to, again, need some guild support, because you have to take it to Osteria, okay? You have to get the pack over here. Now, there's a turn-in spot you can turn in and get a nice reward of gold or whatever the reward is, but to get quest credit, all you have to do is get close. If you get like right up to the dock, you're getting credit for the quest, even if you get killed and lose your trade pack. Also, a couple of things to note. You have to have made the trade pack yourself. If you kill someone and take their necessity trade pack and try and turn it in, that's not going to give you quest credit. You have to have created the trade pack. Once you create it, the one you turn in, or actually get to the turn-in area, doesn't have to be the one you made. So let's say you made one, you go down there, you get killed, you lose it, you've lost your trade pack, and then later that day you see someone else trying to carry one, you flag up, you kill them, you take their pack, then you can go take their pack to go get your quest reward by coming over here to this area and getting quest rewards. After you complete that, you'll go back to the hills and you're going to get your large Scarecrow plot. So that's the quest chain to get your small Scarecrow, your donkey, and your large Scarecrow. I highly suggest doing that quest chain, but you're going to want to plan ahead, again, because you're having to craft so many different things. You're going to have grow times, and then you've got to plan how you're going to get across the sea with your trade pack without getting slaughtered on the way. So I hope that helps. If you guys have any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Just leave any questions or comments down below. If you like this video, if it helped you out, share it, give me a thumbs up, something like that.